In this week's channel message from the angels, they explain that this is a very special time in a very special life that we are in right now. That this time is a time when we have access to all of our past lives, not just this life, where we are, in a sense, a conglomeration of everything we ever were. And we have the ability to heal ourselves at a deeper level than was ever really available to us before. That we have not only the access to that, but also the support. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. And for those of you who are new, my name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. And by trance, I mean I go into a deep meditative state. And from there, I raise my awareness as high as I can go, and then a little bit higher, and I connect. And then the angels come through, and I bring through messages and healing, which I share with you guys here on YouTube. So, and today's message, like I said, they have been giving us lately a beautiful understanding week by week of the big picture of this ascension and what we are going through, what's happening to our consciousness for humanity, and to help us understand our part in it. What is the part that we play? How can we work towards this ascension for ourselves and then also for the collective? So, and this message, like I said, is giving us an understanding of the work that we can be doing right now and how important it is, and then letting us know what we're moving into, giving us more of that broader perspective of what is it that we are trying to attain, and it's going to be great. So it's a great message. And so I also want to let you know, you guys know last week I announced that I have a retreat coming up in April. There is now, there is one spot left in a group room, and there is one spot left in a shared room. So there's just the 2 spots left. So if this retreat speaks to you, it's happening here in Washington State, in an area called Monroe, a beautiful location. I will put the link below with information where you can find out more. And if you have any questions, there is an email on my website that you can email me if you have anything that you need to know. But if you hear it calling to you, please join us. I would love to have you there. All right. I hope you enjoy the message. All right, so here we go. So this is the message. They say, we begin again to entrain you now, to instigate the new envelope that you are understanding. The housing that you are wearing, your physical senses, the encumbrance of all that is tearing your focus from the heavens, all of these are giving way to the heralding of the new understanding of yourselves. Be aware, souls, this time is approaching. The heavens are upon us now with their entrance just beyond the next known encumbrance. You are lifting yourselves with each breath. You are knowing yourselves better. You are anchoring your light into the now and relenting against the pull, the urge of your undoing. We wish to bridge to you in this time coming the effervescent light of the heavens, to let you feel its summons, to understand you are of it. To never doubt for a moment that you are carrying it within you, that you have this now and forever, to let you feel it while incarnated. Yes, this is the journey, to sense in yourself that you are divine, to know you are a part of one thing shared among many, that you are part of the heavens in your understanding and your knowingness, in all that comes round to your perception, that you are guided, that you are instrumental in the divine understanding of life. This awakening, the bridge to your homecoming, what seems an arrival is only just returning, coming back to what you were in some small measure, allowing the self a greater acceptance of your truth while embodied. There is for the self greater heights to be achieved beyond this realm, but to be that self while here on earth is a new thing that you are uncovering, a new layered understanding of your abilities, of your truth, of your wholeness. The apparition of this time and this instance of incarnation does bring you to an understanding of your timeline in the full frame of its existence. It lets you feel into the self from whence you came and the duration of each instance, of each moment in time, to feel it as present. This time in your understanding is different. It is the congealing of all these efforts, the coming together into one frame, the many times of many past lives, of many past thoughts and beginnings, all accumulated and brought forward into you now. This time is special. For this awakening time, this opening does not exist for long. The chance to understand what you are in whole, not in part, the sum of your parts, the completion of the puzzle that you are made of. This is a unique time. In this unfolding, as you are experiencing it, your body is a catacomb of many beginnings. And in the unfolding, as you delve into its depths, into its points and its placements, you will discover yourself again and again. The overwrapping, the outer life of this existence merely contains the measured focus of your current existence. But within that, yes, your whole frame is riddled with connections to all that was and has ever been in your consciousness. And through these alleyways and byways, we find the passage to draw forward into now that which you would call into frame. To let them become benign again. To let them infiltrate no more your energetic patterns. To let them fold and follow and not become the presence that you have been mired in. To become the soul uncluttered, without the dissolution of that self in the midst of your own process of understanding what you are. To bring that fold to a close, to let it die down in your heightened state, to let it become emptied of its influence, to let it fold now. And as it retires and you say goodbye to those familiar focuses, you let them glide and pattern no more. You find in the self a reverie of delight and tranquility. You sense in yourself that you are, as you ever were, an instrumental pilot of God's light, a transient moment in this life in which to elucidate the particular genealogy that you have embodied, infused with this divinity, to let it be and breathe, to let it sing its plight, to let it be this life in joyful remembrance of your wholeness and inclusivity to all that is and is becoming. It is an instant, a night, a day, a heaven-sent breath upon the face of this earth where you exist and then no more again, not again. This soul, this life, this incarnated being is not to come again, not exactly as you are. Therefore, give this earth your fullest expression. Give this earth your fullest passion, your fullest allowing of that light in this incarnated expression. Let it become a fluid illustration of heralding the divine at all times. Letting yourself breathe and be. In these times to come, the forces of purging will dwindle and you will see yourselves as you are. But for now, to focus upon the self and all you are come from, to let this rise. There is more yet. There is more yet to find. There are instances of what you are to be learned from, to glean all that resides within. Let this be your life. Let this be your essence, your reason for being created at this time. To understand what you are through the life lessons on offer. Through the experiences of torment and to purge, to let the life congeal into now. Become as you were, let them rise, let them lift you to the next plane of existence. For each time you purge, you emerge a little brighter. You come closer to the truth. You are instilling in yourself the habit of reasonable understanding of all that is divine within yourself. Of letting the self admit and agree that you are God's essence on earth. Chills. I always get chills. I love sharing these messages with you guys. And I do. Every time I read them, I get more from them. So when we share it together, we as a group, and we all add our awareness and our energy, and more comes through. And that is so awesome. And you're saying lots of words of the day today. I have a lot of underlines in here. Yeah, you're saying so beautiful. I think so too. Yeah. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and break it down paragraph by paragraph. So here's what they say. And Henrik says, beautiful. It is, isn't it? Great to see you, Henrik. Okay, so let's go through and share the paragraph. So the first one, they say, we begin again to entrain you now, to instigate the new envelope that you are understanding. And I think this is when they say to entrain us, is they are, I always think of it as like, in a lot of the sci-fi movies, when there's like a bigger ship and it's trying to pull a little ship into the bigger ship, it's like it gets caught in the tractor beam. That's what it's called. But I think of the word entrain, I think of tractor beams. And it's like the angels have us in their tractor beam and they're pulling us back to the mothership, pulling us back to our higher self, right? And that's how I think it is. They're trying to entrain our frequency to a higher vibration. They're trying to bring our frequency into alignment, which means getting rid of all the chaos and the discordant energy that we hold. So we're trying to get closer and closer to the truth of who we are. So they're trying to entrain our energy. Yeah, we begin again to entrain you now. And part of that, I think, is again a double meaning, is that through these messages, the words contain the frequencies of the angels. So as we are experiencing the messages, we are experiencing their vibration, and they are physically working with us as we listen to work with our energy to bring us in more alignment. And then they're also working to entrain us to our through the message, through our awareness, through our understanding. They're trying to teach us, right? Trying to teach us and help us to understand. So it's kind of both. It's both through our awareness, through the knowledge we're getting, and also from the frequencies that we're receiving. Yeah. And Donna's saying, beautiful, and another reminder to shine my light brightly. 100%, Donna. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So they're basically to instigate a new envelope that you are understanding. So we're really kind of trying to come to a whole new paradigm of understanding, a new way of seeing things. The housing that you are wearing, so this physical, and they talk a lot about this physical incarnation, who we are this lifetime, how this is something special. Your physical senses, the encumbrance of all that is tearing your focus from the heavens. So the encumbrance of all that's tearing your focus. This is like all the details of our life, everything that we're going through. Everything that is what it is to be alive right now is currently pulling our focus away, as we have to like pay attention while we're driving. We're not thinking about our spiritual selves. All of these are giving way to the heralding of the new understanding of yourselves. So they're saying this is a process we're currently going through, where we are currently starting to let go of sort of the daily grind of life and become more and more spiritually focused. And it was fascinating because this is happening right now in the collective consciousness. I went into Netflix last night and I pulled up it was showing me like recommended shows or movies. And it had a category in there, which was like the hot shows of the last year. And all of them were mystical in some way. Like every single one and I don't think that was just because I think that was like for everybody. I don't think that was just for me because it was like hot shows in general. So I think, it's true that would be my feed because that's like all I watch. If I'm going to watch a show, it's going to be something that's got some kind of mystical bent to it. But every single one I clicked on was like fairies or, dream walking every single one was a show that had that theme. So like that tells you something that these shows, that's what's being made. That's what's drawing people's attention and interest right now. So they're saying, yeah, this is all starting to give way. And this is in the collective. And yes, we are in the age of Aquarius now. Like we are moving into this. Pluto is shifting signs into Aquarius. So this is a time where we will start to see massive collective shifts to this different way of seeing things, right? Of being more spiritual in our nature, being drawn to these subjects. All right, they go on to say, be aware, souls, this time is approaching. The heavens are upon us now with their entrance just beyond the next known encumbrance. So they're saying that this next phase where we are going to be moving into this new way of being is close. Like this, the time is approaching. The heavens are upon us. They say it's just beyond, like whatever you're working on right now in terms of your personal growth. It's like just beyond that. Like it could be right there. Like we're that close. And that could be 10 years, but still it's really close. And they're saying you are lifting yourselves with each breath. You are knowing yourselves better. You are anchoring your light into the now and relenting against the pull, the urge of your undoing. So they're saying you are anchoring your light into the now. This is a reference back to the message, I think from, was it last week that they talked, or a couple weeks ago, where they kept talking about anchoring into the now. And so they're mentioning it here again, anchoring your light. So it's like bringing more and more of our light into this embodiment. And they're saying, and relenting against the pull. So to relent something is to relent is to give in, to release, to give in, to allow. Relenting against the pull, the urge of your undoing. So the undoing is the undoing all of our, think of the constriction. If you're tied up, in a straitjacket of life, and you're just letting it untie and let go, you are finally, we have been the ones that have been holding that in place. So the relenting is to finally to allow it to unfold. Relenting against the pull. So there's a constant pull. They're trying to draw us towards the release of all these constraints that we put against ourselves. And we have been the ones that have been holding it super, super tight. And so finally we have to relent and let go against the pull of that undoing. Right? The urge to let it go. Because the urge is getting stronger and stronger to go into the flow, to release, to see ourselves in this new way. Yeah. All right, next paragraph. They say, we wish to bridge to you in this time coming the effervescent light of the heavens. So the angels are saying they are going to be bringing us. They want us to feel, it's like they're giving us an advanced taste of what this is going to be. They want us to become more and more aware of who we are, that we hold this divine. And so they're trying to bridge, to bring in this light even before we're ready, before we've fully accepted it. They're trying to bring it in for us. And you're saying it is a beautiful image to let it unfold, being allowed to release, relent. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think so too. They said, and so they're trying to bridge us to this light from the heavens to let you feel its summons. So this gets back to the urge, the pull to our undoing, is it's summoning us, right? There is an active call that is happening in the cultural zeitgeist of humanity. There's an active call that's happening. And we feel it in different ways right now. Right? To let you feel its summons. And the angels are trying to help us to feel it, to understand you are of it, to never doubt for a moment that you are carrying it within you, that you have this now and forever. So we always have this light, to let you feel it while incarnated. Yes, this is the journey. So this is what we're trying to get to, is to be in the heaviness of this physical body and to recognize and to hold the awareness of our higher self. That's the goal, right? To sense in yourself that you are divine, to know you are a part of one thing shared among many, that you are part of the heavens in your understanding of and your knowingness in all that comes round to your perception, that you are guided, that you are instrumental in the divine understanding of life. So I think this is so important to think about, that they are saying that the real thing here is our own disbelief that this could be true about ourselves, all the ways in which we doubt ourselves and diminish our light, right? The ways that it's always us, whatever is in our way, it's always our own, it's always self-limitation. It's always us doubting that we are divine. And so if we can get back to that space where we are embodied and we truly accept that we are that light, then all of our friction, all of our karma is gone. De facto, that's what it means. To accept it means that our karma is gone, because all our karma is our self-judgment and our self-limitation. So that is the goal, and they're trying to bring that to us, but they want us first to really appreciate the fullness of who we are and how we've been. So we go through this full learning of seeing what our divine light does in this particular experience, right? To understand ourselves in all these different layers. So, and I love they say that at the end here, they say that you are guided, that you are instrumental in the divine understanding of life. So this is the kind of the mission that we've been on until now. And we're sort of, okay, they're saying mission over, it's time to come back to your full self. But the mission up until now, being in this 3D environment, has been to understand, to be instrumental in the divine understanding of life. That has been the goal. So we each took a tiny piece of that divine and we said, okay, we want to understand what life is. So we're going to take this tiny piece and we're going to put it in all these limitations and all these surroundings and all this complexity and see what it does and see what life is when it's expressed this way or that way, or when we express, in all of our, gazillions of incarnations, what is life? And then you multiply that across all the souls that they are, and that is the divine understanding of life. So that's been the mission that we've been on, is to understand ourselves. So this is when we're writing our report. This life is like when we finally sum it all up and we say, this is what we learned. And then we share that with the collective. So that's why they're saying this is such an important time. Yeah. All right. And you're saying, Wendy's saying, human and egos, it's feeling loved by an elder. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that is beautiful. All right. So the next paragraph, they say, this awakening, the bridge to your homecoming, what seems an arrival is only just returning, coming back to what you were in some small measure. So they're really saying, they're calling it an awakening, but it's really just returning. It's just returning to the fullness of really understanding what we are. Allowing the self a greater acceptance of your truth while embodied. There is for the self greater heights to be achieved beyond this realm. But to be that self while here on earth is a new thing that you are uncovering. So in other words, while on earth, even after our awakening, we won't be as powerfully connected as we will be once we cross over back to our spirit selves. But we will have a piece of that. We will have a much greater awareness than we do now. And that experience of having that while embodied, because it opens up, what it does for us is it opens up all these new avenues of experiencing this denser reality while understanding our divinity. So think about like manifestation, reality creation, all of that is what we will be playing with. And that's going to be a whole new focus for our existence. So that's going to be that they're saying this is what we're going to be uncovering. A new layered understanding of your abilities, of your truth, of your wholeness. So that's what's going to be on offer once we make it over, right? Once we make it through this. They go on to say that this is an unusual here it is. They say the apparition of this time and this instance of incarnation does bring to you an understanding of your timeline in the full frame of its existence. So, and an apparition is like an unusual or an unexpected sight, something out of the ordinary. So they're saying this life, this incarnation is different from all of our other incarnations. They're saying this time is a really special time. And it's because it brings to us an understanding of all of our past lives, that it's like we have access to everything, not just access to this specific planned existence. And so, in those of you who've been actively engaged on your healing, you know that sometimes in your healing, you're going like 15 different lives, and it's like it is constant. Like, oh my gosh, there's another past life and another past life, and you think I must be through with it now. And then guess what? You were a dolphin, you were a whatever. It seems endless, and it's because of this. It's because this life is different, because you have access to everything. This is our chance to bring them all forward, to work through them, to release them, right? To uncover, to understand what we felt in those lives. And I think that's a really big thing. By understand, it isn't necessarily important that in this life we process the physical experience of each of those past lives or each of those past experiences. What's important is that we process the feelings, the emotions. That's what matters. So just so you know, it's not like we have to recall the details of all these past lives. Great if you do, but that's not essential. Yeah. And you're saying, would it be like how the ascended masters lived? Great question. I mean, I think because the ascended masters would have had access to much more of that universal consciousness, right? They would have been much more aware. So I'm sure that, and they would have been cleared. So I think it is. I think it would be a lot more like that. Yeah, it's a really good question. And Mary is saying, instrumental in the divine understanding of life. We each take a tiny piece to see what life and all the pieces make the whole. Yes, exactly. So that's like we become the collective consciousness. Exactly. And you're saying, and in our eagerness to run home, we may realizing the gift of living our present lives during this time, live life to the fullest rather than yearning to go home. Yeah, we might skip. You're exactly right. That if we are in such a hurry to get back to that higher state, because I admit that when you're going through it, it's really tempting to just be like, I don't want this. I really, really want the ascension. I don't want to deal with the difficulties of now, but to understand that the difficulties are where it's at right now. Like that, to understand that, yes, you are inevitably heading towards this ascension because you are on your path, but that everything that you're dealing with, all the difficulties, and you're like, gosh, it feels like I'm moving backwards. Like, why is this stuff coming up? Understand it is a really treasured, these sort of complications you're experiencing now are the greatest, easiest way to see ourselves and we won't have them for very long. So yeah, you're right. The temptation is to let it go, but it is the journey that is really, really special right now, really unique and important to the universe, important to divine understanding of what our spark is. It is the mission, right? To deal with these things. Yeah, to understand ourselves in them. That's the goal, to understand ourselves. Yeah. So they say, where was I? So to understand the timeline in the full frame of its existence, it lets you feel into the self from whence you came and the duration of each instance, of each moment in time, to feel it as present. This time in your understanding is different. It is the congealing of all these efforts. This is what they're saying. This life is the collection, the congealing, the bringing together of everything you've ever done, right? The coming together into one frame, the many times of many past lives, of many past thoughts and beginnings, all accumulated and brought forward into you now. So really, really important for us to understand why this life might seem harder, right? Why this time might seem challenging. I wonder. All right. So they go on to say, this time is special. For this awakening time, this opening does not exist for long. The chance to understand what you are in whole, not in part, the sum of your parts, the completion of the puzzle that you are made of. This is a unique time in this unfolding. As you are experiencing it, your body is a catacomb of many beginnings. And a catacomb, I love that choice of words. A catacomb is like an underground graveyard, and it is tunnels and rooms and winding passages where bodies are buried. And so, of course, it's the perfect metaphor for our past lives because it's underground, which is subconscious. Right? And it's all where all the bodies are. All our past selves are in there. So it is our body, our physical body is the connection to all these past selves. It is they're saying the body is a catacomb of all these past selves. So we can access them. They're saying we can access all of this through the body. The body is the vehicle through which we can do this exploration. And by the way, I want to add about the idea that we have to process all these past lives, that some of you may be experiencing these past lives or may be experiencing them without a lot of friction, but some of you may be going through it and really feeling the friction, that you may be really struggling and suffering at different times. And I just want to say that just as a point of encouragement, that as you are willing to open and let the emotion move through you, that yes, you will have more stuff come up, but it becomes less difficult to process them, that you are still going through as many things. Like I still have healing going on. I have dreams showing me, I just had a dream the other night where I had my guide brought me in. I had two guides, and there's a male guide, and he brings me into a toilet stall, and there's an antique toilet, and it's a hole in the ground. And I'm like, I don't want to use that. And he bends down and he cleans it really good for me. And he's like, use the antique toilet. And so what that means is that I have something from an antique, from a past life, something that I'm like, oh, I don't want to touch it. And he's like, no, come on, you got to release this, do this. So use a toilet in a dream is about letting something go. So there's something that I don't know, I have to figure out what it is that he was trying to show me, but there's telling me there's something historic, something past life that I need to release. But my point is that as you go through it, it becomes less painful, that there's less friction in going through this process. So what I'm trying to say is take heart that if you're really struggling right now and you feel like, oh my gosh, how can I do this? How can I keep going through this? Understand that if you just turn and open and allow those emotions to move through you, it will be a lot less painful. And then the new things that come in will not rattle you as badly. That it gets progressively easier, a lot easier is what I'm trying to say. So just a word of encouragement if you are one that is feeling this acutely. Yeah. And you're saying, I've had several toilet dreams. Who here has had toilet dreams? I have so many I used to have tons of toilet dreams. Now it's just once in a while, but I know if you have had toilet dreams, yeah, okay, yeah, lots of toilet dreams. And how about going to the bathroom in public? That is oh my gosh, everybody has going to the bathroom. That's about being willing to show yourself and all that kind of stuff.
So you're saying great visual. Awesome. And all right, so let's keep going. They say, so we are a catacomb. Our body is a catacomb. All right. The overwrapping, the outer life of this existence, the body that we are in, merely contains the measured focus for your current existence. So they're saying that we sort of come in the outer wrapping, the outer, like the sort of the outer skin of this whole experience is sort of like what we would have planned as one life. This is like what we kind of the first stuff we have to get through. Then they say, but within that, yes, your whole frame is riddled with connections to all that was and has ever been in your consciousness. So, okay, so basically once you get through the outer layer, which is just kind of like the outer wrapping of like what your parents, the trauma that we came in with and all that kind of stuff, we get through that. And then you get to the juicy middle, which is like everything. So, right, yeah, your whole frame is riddled with connections to all that was and has ever been in your consciousness. Whew, right? And through these alleyways and byways, we find the passage to draw forward into now that which you would call into frame. So they're saying that which you would call. So I love that they specify that what you would call. In other words, you are still in charge of your life. That you are the ones that get to choose what comes forward and what doesn't. And that choosing may happen at the higher self level. It may have been something you planned for this incarnation, that you plan to have certain things come forward. But at the end of the day, we are not the victims of our reality. That we are always the conscious chooser. We are always the one that's making decisions. We are always the team leader. And our guides are the ones that are helping us. They are on the team, but we are the team leader. We are the captain. And we get to choose. So it's helpful to know that through this whole process, you are empowered to make choices. And the choice is the goal is to get to a place where our choice is not to resist. Our choice is to understand. It's like trying to pilot a ship, trying to captain a ship. That if you're trying to fight, against the waves, whereas if you just turn and be part of the surf, you just, it's easy, right? And so that's the idea. But we have to be the ones that choose because that's part of our learning. You're saying, juicy middle. I know. Yippee, we get to choose. Yes, yeah, it is. It's really helpful to know that, I think, that we are not the victim of this experience, that we chose it and we are continuing to make choices all the way through this. And we can always choose something different. And that is true. Okay, so so they are drawing it forward into now, that which you would call into frame, to let them become benign again. I love the choice of words, to let these past experiences become benign again. Benign means not harmful. So, but they also benign also means gentle and kindly in their effect. So I love that because it's like to say these experiences may be, and I think of the word of benign, they use it sometimes talking about cancer or like a tumor, I think. They would say a tumor is benign, that it's not harmful. So you can have something in you that feels incredibly hard and challenging, and then it becomes benign. It becomes gentle and kindly in its effect, that it's not harmful. So we're bringing these things forward, and we're making them so that we have them as part of our understanding of ourselves, but they no longer cause us any problems. They no longer are manifesting in our reality and bringing forward things that we don't want to experience, and that's the goal. Yeah. To let them infiltrate no more your energetic patterns, right? So they're no longer becoming part of your reality. To let them fold and follow and not become the presence that you've been mired in. So in other words, they fold, they go away. They're no longer part of the reality you're experiencing, that you are mired in. To be mired in something is like to be surrounded by, mixed in, right? All right, to become the soul uncluttered without the dissolution of that self in the midst of your own process of understanding what you are. So that is the goal. So they're saying right now it is the dissolution. It's like we're dissolved in the midst of the process of understanding what we are. And I love that. I mean, that phrase is so powerful to me because it's saying that in the midst of what we are in right now, in this craziness of trying to understand ourselves, it creates all this chaos around us. And in the process of understanding ourselves, the truth of who we are gets diluted, right? It gets confusing. We forget who we are, right? It's the dissolution of ourselves. And as we become uncluttered, that chaos disappears and we are no longer unclear about that. it becomes easier and easier to understand ourselves, right? So to bring that fold to a close, to let it die down in your heightened state, to let it become emptied of its influence, to let it fold now. And as it retires and you say goodbye to those familiar focuses, so all of those patterns that may have been difficult for you, say goodbye, you let them glide and pattern no more, right? So that's what we're going through. Then they say, this is the next paragraph is what is going to be like after that? What is it going to be like after you release it? They say, you find in the self a reverie of delight and tranquility. You sense in yourself that you are, as you ever were, an instrumental pilot of God's light. And I love that they use the word pilot, because think about that. Like a pilot has choice. The pilot is the one driving, like the ship. It's the person driving. But you are also a pilot light, like a pilot of God's light. Like a pilot light is the thing that stays lit. And then so that, like, think about in your furnace, you have or in your water heater, you have a pilot light. And then when the heat goes on, the flame is there, so it catches. The gas comes in and it catches and it ignites again. So it's like you are the one that's bringing that light to the earth so that it can catch. The energy can catch it and it can spread, right? So I just think it's a beautiful double meaning. And so you are the pilot light, a transient moment in this life in which to elucidate the particular genealogy that you have embodied. To elucidate means to make clear, to make something clear, to elucidate, to make clear the particular genealogy that you have embodied. So the physical, like, what is this, the genes that you're carrying infused with this divinity? So it's that magic combination of what is it to be your particular soul in this particular genealogy. What is that experience like? What's that going to be like? How are you going to feel and experience and move through this life, right? That's what we're trying to understand. And they're saying to let it be and breathe, to let it sing its plight, to be in this life, in this joyful remembrance of your wholeness and inclusivity to all that is and is becoming. So we're really trying to understand that this incarnation is super unique, that this incarnation will never happen again, that this particular genealogy can only happen one time. And so, and you get to be the soul that embodies it. So they're saying this combination of you plus this body is something that needs to be understood for the learning of the universe. Yeah, for the learning of everyone. And they go on to talk about how special this is. This life is brief, they're saying. It's just a moment. They're saying it is an instant, a night, a day, a heaven-sent breath upon the face of this earth where you exist and then no more, not again. This soul, this life, this incarnated being is not to come again, not exactly as you are. So this particular incarnation, to be who you are now, yes, you will come again in well, depending on how life goes, right? We'll reincarnate, but differently. But this incarnation is extremely unique. And it's the only time you ever get to be the person that you are right now. So they're saying, so this is, and the only time this person that you are will ever exist. So they say, therefore, give this earth your fullest expression. Give this earth your fullest passion, your fullest allowing of that light in this incarnated expression. Let it become a fluid illustration of heralding divine at all times. Letting yourself breathe and be. So as much of ourselves, as much of our divine light as we can bring through, that's going to be the maximum experience of this incarnation. How much of our divinity can we express through this physical body? That's the goal, right? That is truly experiencing being who you are in this life. Yeah. Next paragraph. In these times to come, the forces of purging will dwindle and you will see yourselves as you are. So this is great. Most of us are like, yes. But they're saying this is almost like a warning, saying the purging is something we should welcome and it's going to stop before too long. It will dwindle. So not all at once. It won't be like a shut off. It will dwindle and you will see yourselves as you are. So as a divine being. But for now, to focus upon the self and all you are come from, to let this rise. There is more yet. And by the way, I think it's important to recognize they're saying that this awareness, if you are on the path, you don't have to do everything. Like even if you don't finish, if you don't get through every last possible incarnation you've ever had, if there's still some junk in there, don't worry. Like, you will still be rising to this new state of being. It's just we want to do as much as we can before we get there. But if you don't make it through the whole mountain, it's okay. Like, just do what you can. Do as much as you can. And you will still experience the shift. Because they're saying that it's the forces of purging will dwindle and you will see yourselves as you are. So this is like, as long as you're on the path, you're going to see it. Yeah. But for now, to focus upon the self and all you are come from, to let this rise. There is more yet. There is more yet to find. There are instances of what you are to be learned from, to glean all that resides within. Let this be your life. Let this be your essence, your reason for being created at this time. So this is big. They're saying, like, why are we here to do this? Yeah, to do this understanding of ourselves, to understand what you are through the life lessons on offer, through the experiences of torment to purge, to let the life congeal into now, become as you were. So in other words, become all these past experiences, let them rise, let them come up to your awareness, let them lift you to the next plane of existence. So every time one comes up, you let it rise, it purges, and then you become lighter as a soul. They say for each time you purge, you emerge a little brighter. So through this process, you as a soul are purging past influences, past things that dim you as a soul, that lower your frequency. So yes, there is the benefit of all of us learning from your experience. But then there's the real icing on the cake, maybe even the icing and the cherry on top. I guess it's a sundae, but you get my point, is that you emerge brighter as a soul, and that you get to take with you. That's forever. That as you clear these things, you become a brighter and brighter soul. And then when you cross over, you get to take that with you. So this opportunity is not just for the benefit of all humankind. It's really, at its core, it's for you. Because this opportunity to confront yourself is not typical and does not exist normally. It's a very unique time where you are able to clear way more than you really ever would have been able to before. So that's why they're saying this is a very special time, not only for humanity to understand itself, for the divine to understand itself, for God to understand itself, but also for you as a soul to become as bright and sparkly as you can possibly be, right? All right, so then they say, become as you, to understand what you are through the life lessons on offer, through the experiences of torment and purge, to let the life congeal into now. Become as you were, let them rise, right? Let them lift you to the next plane of existence. For each time you purge, you emerge a little brighter. You come closer to the truth. And in the last paragraph, they say, you are instilling in yourself the habit of reasonable understanding of all that is divine within yourself. So they're saying that you are letting yourself admit deep down, through all of your reason, through all of your logic, through all of your self-doubting, that you are divine. And the last sentence they say, of letting the self admit and agree that you are God's essence on earth. So I love that, because it's really showing, like, this is the goal, is to get to a place where we know, we feel, we understand, we have no doubt of our truth, of what we really are, and that we live from that space. And when all the doubt is gone, when the doubt is gone, we are no longer in judgment of ourselves, we have no karma, and we are in that awesome space that they were talking about, right? That awesome space of, like, peace and tranquility and goodness, where they're talking, what do they call it? It's something in here. One of you guys wrote it in there too. But in a reverie of delight and tranquility. That's what we're trying to head towards, right? So awesome. You're saying, I love that challenge. How much? Oh yeah, Rebecca said it. A reverie of delight and tranquility. And you're saying, I love that challenge. How much of our divinity can we bring in this life? Yes. Okay, self, let's do this. I love it. Yes. Like, I think this is like the pep talk. As they're giving us pep talks here, they're telling us, like, go for it. This is a unique, special time. And I know it's hard. Like, I know it's no fun. Like me, I'm in that dream. I'm looking at that antique toilet and I'm like, no thanks. To the point where my guy gets, because I'm like, ooh, it's icky. And he gets down there and he's shining it and polishing it. Like, oh, look, it's lovely. You want to squat on this hole. And, yeah, so I get it. It's not fun. But the benefits, what we gain from doing it is immeasurable. Like, it's beyond our understanding. The benefit is so good. Yeah. So we want to do this. So I'm taking this pep talk too, right? I'm going to figure out what that toilet is all about. I'm going to work on it because I know it's so good for me and for everyone. Yeah. All right, you guys. Awesome message once again. Beautiful message. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are feeling the call to join the retreat, like I mentioned, is one group room, a spot in a group room left, and there's one spot in a shared room left. I will put the link below in the description and in the comments. So, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. There is on my website, I have an email there, or you can message me. All right, you guys, have a beautiful weekend. Sending you lots of love. And I will see you next Friday live. Bye, you guys.